Okay, I filmed this video for 16 minutes and I filmed it entirely in time lapse. So let's do this again. Hi, my name is Jess. You've probably come here because you've been sent from my Instagram. I have a Instagram account called Plate and Parenthood. If you just happen to have stumbled across this video on the internet, hello, my name is Jess, and I am talking today about my son Clark's ENT situation. He's about to have an operation next week. I've been sat on these questions for so long. I'm really sorry. Basically, I kept trying to make a reel which has a time limit of 90 seconds, and there is just no way that I can fit everything in. So that's why we're here. I don't plan to keep you for too long. I do have a coffee, so I suggest that you get one too. And we'll get right in. Just in case you have stumbled across this from the depths of nowhere, as a bit of a background, my son is 3 years old. He is due to have his tonsils out, his adenoids removed, and grommets inserted next week. He has issues with sleep, he has issues with speech, and he has severe hearing loss. So we are really excited and hopeful that this operation are going to fix a whole host of issues for him and really just open up the world to him. I have made a couple of videos about it on my Instagram, so go take a look at those for a bit more context, but he is a very happy, very cuddly, princess-loving little boy who has had various different ear, nose and throat issues, which we were unsuccessfully able to get support for him on the NHS, and we are actually using Bupa for this operation. I just need to take a moment to share both an understanding of the privilege that it is to be able to use Bupa, but also a frustration, deep frustration in hitting a complete brick wall with the NHS. We are so lucky. We're using essentially like a benefit at my husband's work where he gets Bupa insurance. We could not afford this, we could not just rock up to a private hospital and afford to have any of this treatment. If I were a kid, like no one in my family would have ever had access to anything like this. So we are so super grateful. But I feel bad that we, I don't know, are like jumping a queue and that there are other kids who would not have access to this, which is just crap. I don't think I can use other 4-letter swear words on YouTube, but it's just crap. I'm really excited for him, but I'm frustrated at the situation. We did what we were told we were supposed to do. The nursery referred him twice. We referred him to the NHS ourselves. Nothing happened. Nothing. Like, he had one hearing test and they said, cool, we'll write to you in 3 months. We never heard from them again. Anyway, I will get off my soapbox now. So I did a bit of a Q&A video, asked for Q&As, and I have got 5 of them. So I just answered these, so maybe the answers will be better this time, I don't know. The first question that we have got is, are you nervous about your baby going through this situation? At the moment, I'm so focused on being hopeful for the outcome that I'm not thinking about the actual operation day. Because my daughter had an emergency operation in September and it was in the same hospital, like I've been through the process of watching your child be put to sleep, like general anaesthetic, which I think is like the yuckiest bit, right? Watching them be put to sleep is just not very nice. I'm sure on the day I will be nervous. I mean, I call myself Anxious Annie. Like if there is something to worry about, I will worry about it. But I did actually message a kind of like ENT influencer on Instagram. I think his name was ENT Joe. If I can find his account handle, I'll put it in the description. But I just said like, hi, I've got some questions and things that I was worried about. Would you mind answering them? And it really did put me at ease. One of the most important things to me was, I'm not going to pretend that a tonsil operation is like serious. Like I understand that this is so basic that they could do this in their sleep with their eyes closed, and like hundreds of these operations happen like every hour, every day. I totally get that. But for me, the worry was if you're right up in here and you're right up in here, like how are they breathing? How are you making sure that he can breathe at all times properly? And the answer was, he did give me some very good medical terms that I couldn't possibly repeat to you now, but they effectively like use a really teeny tiny skinny tube that goes down and makes sure that whilst they're doing what they're doing, there will always be like airflow. So that made me feel a lot better. But yes, I'm sure I will be nervous on the day, but at the moment I'm thinking about benefits on the other side. The next question is, does he have speech issues? 4-year-old's waiting for an appointment. Yes. So 2 things. One, just a complete delay. So when he was about 2 years old, the nursery said, oh, you know, we expect him to have like 2 to 3 word sentences by now. And he would point and shoot. Like, it would be one word, like ball, coat, dog. You know, he had words, but one word sentences. He then, after Christmas, both Christmases, so the Christmas he was 2 and the Christmas just gone that he was 3, he has this kind of like bit of a, what's the word? It's like a word growth spurt. Where we've noticed when he goes back to nursery after Christmas, he's got a lot more words. So that Christmas where he turned 2, we sort of said, okay, like there's been an improvement. So not so much worried about, oh, what are the guidelines, but has he improved on himself? And he had. So we sort of left it there. Same with this Christmas, but like at that point, you can now hear that I wouldn't say he has speech delay now, because he's got like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 word sentences, but you can hear the words are not right. So an example that I often use is Mickey Mouse. So we would say Mickey Mouse, Clark would say Mick Mouse, or even Mick Mow. I'm not even sure you'd get the Mick Mouse. If I've got a clip of it, and if Alex, who's going to edit this video, is feeling snazzy enough, maybe there'll be a clip of it.
Miss Mouse! Miss Mouse! I'm Miss Mouse!
Are you Mickey Mouse?
Yeah.
That is like he'll take, it's not even necessarily the first part of the word, it will just be whatever's the strongest sound you'll get. And it is very nasal, it sounds like he's bunged up. So yes, he does have speech issues, and I hope that you managed to get an appointment and get it all sorted. The doctor kind of said to us, like, yes, speech therapy is an option, but he felt confident that once his hearing loss has improved, then his speech will get better when he can hear how the words are supposed to be said, I guess, is the logic. The other question, so 4-year-old having issues with a snotty nose, can they blow their nose and sniff? Yes, Clark always has a snotty nose, he always has. We used to call it nursery nose. I think that's a common thing that kids that go to nursery are always sick, but he has a constant 365 snotty nose. And if he's not sick, the snot is clear, and if he is sick, the snot is yellow, but there is always snot. I wouldn't say that he has issues with sniffing, and he does blow his nose. He blows his nose all the time. So, yeah, he can definitely like breathe in and out of his nose, but he's got a lot of snot. Hopefully that helps. The 2 other main questions are to do with hearing loss and his sleep apnea. So without going into like too much of a depressive state, Clark's sleep, which is something I've spoken about on and off over the years, like I could probably count on 2 hands how many times that kid has slept through the night. Like awful. Like before he was 2 years old, he was up between 8 and 14 times a night, every night. There would be nothing that we haven't bought that is marketed towards child sleep coaches, packages, routines printed off the internet, avoiding this food, avoiding that food, increasing this food. I've poured my heart out to health visitors, to doctors. I once had a health visitor tell me, I'll never forget her, basically told me that I'm failing him, that he needs to have 13 hours of sleep a day. That's why his brain is not developing. That's why he can't talk, because you're not getting him to sleep enough. You've trained him to wake up 8 times a night because you go to him every time he cries. Like, I can't explain to you what that is like to say to someone that is like coming to you for help. Oh, awful. If you're watching this, I can't, yeah, well. We kind of just accepted that that was our lot in life, and that eventually, I don't know, he'd grow out of it or he wouldn't. It is what it is. And when we saw the ENT doctor, we were able to show him lots of videos. So videos of his snoring. He very audibly snores. Again, if Alex is feeling snazzy, maybe we'll stick one in. But also we were able to talk to him about these really violent, I don't know, like tantrum doesn't feel like the right word, because a tantrum you can kind of like see a toddler having a tantrum and you're like, that's a toddler tantrum. These will be like periods of where it's almost like he's been taken over by something and he is punching, headbutting, kicking, like us, himself, the walls, anything. And what he was able to explain to us was that those fits are essentially he's not getting, it's not even so much that he's not getting enough sleep, that's a given, but also the sleep he is getting is really poor quality. His brain is not getting enough oxygen when he is sleeping, and he has these periods where there's no like breathing, big like coughing, spluttering, and then he's awake, he's almost jolted awake, and it's difficult to go back to sleep, right? Especially for a young kid who doesn't understand that that's not normal. And one of the things, and I got really upset about when I spoke about this last time, which I won't get upset now, because it makes me feel so sad and bad when I just look back on the last 3 years. Like, it's awful to be kept up. It's awful to be kept up, but we are his parents, and I cannot sit here hand on heart and say that I've not snapped at him, that I've not been grumpy, that I've not, you know, after getting up 6 times in the night, gone, do you know what, I am going to let you cry for half an hour. And if I'm cancelled on the internet, I'm cancelled on the internet. Like, it is the most soul-destroying thing to happen in those moments where it is relentless night after night. We don't have support. We don't have support from our parents. Our children have been away from us one night because I can't leave. Like, we couldn't leave them with people when he can't sleep. Like, it's awful. And anyway, I said I won't get emotional. I'm just so, like, when we had that written down on paper to say that he had been diagnosed with sleep apnea, it was the most overjoyed moment, like, reading that in black and white, that we are not going mental, that this is not normal, that there is something that can be done to help this, like, was incredibly, like, a moving moment. 1,000,000%. If you have a child that has incredibly high sleep needs, I don't know, I almost don't know what to say. I was about to say, please make sure you, like, seek support, but every avenue of support that I explored on the NHS basically just told me it was my own fault. Yeah, tell them to consider sleep apnea, because if those, like, symptoms resonate, there are things that can be done. There are things that can be done. So that was, we'll put a pin in that one. That felt so preachy. I didn't mean to be. The next question was about hearing loss. So how did we know that he couldn't hear us? There's a couple of different, like, answers to this question. One was preschool. So to cut a long story short, they thought he was sort of, like, not badly behaved, but, you know, he'd be called to do a group activity. He wouldn't come, he wouldn't listen. Other kids, they'd be told, it would be like told, you can imagine in a room, like, tidy up time, and he would just carry on playing with what he's playing. He wouldn't get involved in the activity. So they suspected that actually he couldn't hear very well. And also at home, like, we'd noticed things. Don't get me wrong, if I open the fridge, he'd be there. If I call his name and I'm looking at him, Clark, he's there. But in certain situations, you know, soft play, busy room, different room, you know, behind him, that you could tell he wasn't as responsive as his sister, who's the only other person we could compare him to. So that's where that came from. That was the only thing that we got somewhere with the NHS. So we referred him to the GP in August. He had a hearing test in December, and they said, yeah, it's bad. He's got severe hearing loss. We'll write to you in 3 months, and we'll still see if that's the case. We've never heard back from them, and obviously I haven't felt the need to right now, because something's getting done. We are obviously hoping that with the glue ear removed with the grommets, that the hearing loss will improve. They will repeat the hearing test after the operation, so we can see if that gets better. Those are all of my questions. So I'm documenting this because I'm an incredibly nosy person, and I would love to sit and watch a video of somebody that was, like, in my shoes, like, 6 months ahead. So people have been so generous with experiences of either them as a kid or experiences of their children going through this operation. And I hope that I can just kind of add to that resource for people to have a look at. I will continue to document how it goes, especially after the operation. You know, how is he? I've been given lots of tips, like, you know, making sure we've got jellies in, ice lollies in, having a notepad to write down every time you've given Calpol and Nurofen so that you really keep it topped up, making sure that they have painkillers before they eat so they don't think eating is painful. But if you've got any other tips, please share them below. It's not unsolicited advice. It's very much solicited advice. I'm asking you for it. Yeah, and you know, if you want to continue the conversation, please go for it, either down below or over on my Instagram, where I am not very good. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a hobby, not much more than that, which I'm not that good at. And that wasn't a very good plug, but if you want to continue the chat, I'm over on Plates and Parenthood. And yeah, I will leave you to the rest of your day. Bye.